Hey, good evening to all our viewers out there. I am the Freedom Warrior, and we want to welcome you tonight to our show. And we would first of all like to start out and thank Mr. 411, our producer, and we would like to thank 411 Sports World Network for sponsoring this show. And tune in to the 411 Sports World Network and make sure you subscribe. And if you like what you see, please hit that like button. And I'm going to tell you, 411 Sports World brings you the most accurate sports reporting by some of the most skilled and knowledgeable sports analysts in the business. And tonight, I'm so glad to be back. I'm sorry I wasn't with you last week, but I had to take a pause for another worthy cause. But we're going to try to, be available every week right here on the 411. Let me say it again, 411 Sports World Network. Tonight, we have a couple of topics that I think you would find very interesting because they are impacting your daily life. And the first topic that is of interest to everyone across the nation is this government shutdown. Now, I'm sure that many people out there are being affected by this shutdown. It seems obvious that some of the politicians in Washington aren't being affected by it, but they can't seem to find a way to resolve the problem. Now, one would ask, why the shutdown? Well, obviously, they can't agree. The Senate just won't put forth the votes to pass a continued resolution, or what they call a continuing resolution, to refund or fund the government just to keep it open. And one would have to say, well, my gosh, why won't they just come together and resolve the issue? It's simple. It's a matter of voting. And in the past, they have passed many continuing resolutions under many other presidents. But for some reason, under this president, they seem to have a problem passing it. And it's because they want what they want and not what's good for the entire country, in my opinion. Now, let's take a look at our deficit. What is the deficit of the United States of America right now? Does anybody really know? Well, if you don't know, let me tell you. We are nearly $40 trillion, 39.78 trillion to be exact, but almost $40 trillion in debt. And the Democrats refuse to pass this continued resolution because they want to add more money to the debt. And why do they want to do it? Do you know? Well, they want to expand the ACA subsidies, you know, the Affordable Care Act subsidies of the Obamacare. And they also want to reverse some of the Medicare cuts that were in the big, beautiful bill. And lastly, they definitely want additional funding to provide medical coverage for illegal immigrants. And right then and there, it's a no go, particularly the item of providing medical care to the legal immigrants. So we're at a stalemate, but this thing should end. Now, this shutdown is not unprecedented. It's happened before. And let's take a look at some of the presidents under which it happened and how long they went on. Now, under President Trump, now we've exceeded over 3 weeks, 20, let's see, 26 days of a shutdown. Under President Clinton, we had a 21-day shutdown. Under President Carter, there were 17 days. Under Obama, there were 16 days. And of course, Carter obviously had one, two, three, four, five different government shutdowns. So he holds the record on shutdowns. So, anyway, but American people are being affected because all the essential personnel are being, held in place and they're being paid. But there are others who are considered non essential and certain departments and agencies of the federal government have to furlough these people. And the hardest hit of them all is the Environmental Protection Agency. And I think they have about 80% of their staff and workers being furloughed. Next in line is the Department of Education, second highest. And it looks like they have somewhere about 87% of their personnel being furloughed. And the list goes on with the Commerce Department, the Labor Department, the State Department, Department of Defense, Health and Human Services, Social Security, Justice Department, Office of Personnel Management and Budget, and Homeland Security, and finally, Veteran Affairs. And thankfully, Veteran Affairs is only losing somewhere in the neighborhood of 3% of their personnel. So here we go. We must find a way to let our representatives in Washington know that they need to open the government. This shutdown business is really not a good thing for America. People are being hurt. Offices are shut down. People aren't getting paid, except for some selected individuals, to include our politicians. They're not missing a paycheck, but maybe you are. So I think you better get on the phone, call your representatives or your senators, and tell them stop playing games with the lives of the American people. And I'm very disturbed over the fact that we have people who are there to represent us and supposedly looking out for the common good and welfare of the American people, but they spend 90% of their time playing political games with each other rather than looking out for the people. Now, I want to let it be known that my view on this shutdown is that the Democrats could open this government. They could do it with just simply voting for the continuing resolution. But they refuse to do it. And why? Because they want 1.5 trillion. Let me say that again with a T, $1.5 trillion to fund their interests in expanding Obamacare and their interest in reversing cuts to Medicare, as they claim there are many cuts to Medicare that are going to affect a lot of people, and their insurance is going to go up because this was in a big, beautiful bill. And I'm here to tell you, it's not true. And lastly, they want to give medical coverage to people who are here illegally. So $1.5 trillion is what they're saying. If we get it, then we'll vote for it. But that's not the way this country should be run. America, it should be run like a business because it is a business. It's our tax money. This money doesn't come from anyone whom you elected and sent to Washington, D.C. This is your tax money. And these people are saying they want $1.5 trillion of your money so that they could sponsor and carry out their own little, personal interests. So think about it, $40 trillion in debt, government shutdown. Now let's take another look at something else that's going on. There's a crime crackdown in the country. And I kind of think that the people of America are kind of split on what is being done to get crime under control in America. But I think that our president is doing his level best to ensure that we have safe communities across America. And he's trying to restore law and order. Now, some people are upset that the National Guard is being put in as an augmentation group to help bring about law and order and safety in our communities. And there are a lot of people who don't like that. But they're working in conjunction with and alongside local law enforcement and federal law enforcement. The FBI and ICE, the National Guard, are not actually doing policing, but they are securing federal property. Now, one would say, okay, well, this crackdown is well um, is overboard, but it's not, because since the crackdown, we know that Washington D.C. has become a safer place. There have been somewhere in the neighborhood of over 2,000 some odd arrests of criminals and offenders who were taken off our streets. There have been 222 legal firearms seized, and I'm just talking basically in one area of DC. Gang members have been arrested. Children who were missing have been found and returned. Homicides are at an all-time low, and the homeless population has been moved to safer and more secure living spaces. Now, violent crime, particularly in the district, fell by 39% during the federal surge period. That's phenomenal. And what the president is trying to do is use this as a model for the nation, because 81% of Americans see violent crime as a major problem and a major issue. So, that being said, I think our president is doing the right thing. Granted, you have many mayors in some of these cities that are in the sights of ICE and the FBI and federal law enforcement. These mayors are pushing back. And why? Why would you push back? Why don't you want safer communities? Why do you want illegals and drug dealers running your streets? Why are you releasing people from jails only to come back to the population and do the very same thing they did? That is, commit and offend. So I'm questioning the heart and the judgment of some of these political leaders in these cities who are saying there's nothing to see here when there is. And you're not looking out for the welfare of your people. Safety first. Politics, you could save that for another time. Well, now we've talked about the shutdown, the crime crackdown, and now we're going to talk a little bit about the election showdown. There's an election going on and coming up, perhaps in many of our municipalities across the country, local and state houses and Senate houses across the nation. And there are governor races going on, and one big mayor race going on in the city of New York. Mr. 411, could you show the candidates on the New York mayoral race? Here we have Mr. Zoran Mandani, Mr. Curtis Sliwa, and of course, everyone's favorite, Mr. Andrew Cuomo, the former governor of the state of New York. Now, Mr. Mandani is a proclaimed Democrat socialist, whatever that is, some kind of hybrid politician of some kind. He's saying he's a Democrat so he can get Democrats to vote for him, but he's a socialist as well, and he believes in socialism. So with him, capitalism is not his thing. He thinks that everybody should have the same across the board in terms of possessions. And of course, he thinks that government owns it all and you don't. You have to go to government to get what you want, and they make all the decisions. Now, Mr. Curtis Sliwa, he's a former, well, I wouldn't say former, but he was a founder of the Guardian Angels. And he's a native New Yorker. He was born there. As he said, I was born here, I lived here, and I'll die here. And Mr. Sliwa is kind of moving up in the polls, folks. I know everybody's saying right now that Mandani is the guy and he's running away with this race, but I beg to differ. And lastly, we have the former governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, who resigned his position as governor of the state under some scandalous conditions, but now he wants to return to politics and return to the city of New York as their mayor. He contends that if Mr. Sliwa would get out of the race, that would increase his chances of winning and defeating the socialist, Mr. Mandani. Now, Curtis Sliwa, if I was a New Yorker, would be my mayor. This man has taken a lot of slings and arrows for citizens of New York. He was out there in the streets with his guardian angels protecting his community and the communities at large in the city of New York. So it's a matter of choice. It's going to be a very surprising finish. And not taking anything away from Mr. Cuomo, I think he's very experienced in political leadership. He's been in it a long time. His family's been in it a long time. But I'm not so sure that the people of New York are ready to return Mr. Cuomo to power. And the city of New York is what? Capital of the world for business and financing. It's huge. Therefore, having a socialist at the helm could be detrimental to what New York is known for and what it stands for as a capitalist beacon of the world for capitalism. But I think that Mr. Sliwa may be the dark horse in this race. And I hope that the voters of the city of New York will consider voting for him. So he gets my endorsement. So you heard it here tonight. The Freedom Warrior is endorsing Curtis Sliwa. So we've talked about the showdown, the crime crackdown, and now the election showdown. Oh, by the way, in New Jersey, there's a governor race going there, gubernatorial. Okay, that's Virginia. Let's take a look at what's happening in New Jersey. Well, okay, here we go. That's in New York City again. Well, there's a race in New Jersey for the governor's office, and the two candidates there, one Republican and one Democrat. Mr. 411, do you have the New Jersey governor's candidates? Let's see. Yes. I think the names are Mr. Cantarelli. Yes, Cantarelli. He is the Republican candidate. And there is one other person there who's running, last name Cheryl. Yes, here we go. There it is. Thank you so much, Mr. 411. These are the candidates in the gubernatorial race in New Jersey. Now, let me just say this about Mr. Cantarelli. This is his second go at it. This is not his first rodeo. And he almost defeated Governor Murphy in the last election. So therefore, I think he has a very good chance this time. Because after all, think about it. Mr. Murphy has done a lot of damage to the state of New Jersey. under his Democratic leadership. And Ms. Cheryl is wanting to continue taking the state in that same direction that Murphy has taken them. And it doesn't look very good for the people of New Jersey if they were to elect another Democrat. Mr. Cantor, I think his name is pronounced Cantorelli. I think he's a strong candidate. He's a man of vision, and he's looking to bring safety and prosperity to the state of New Jersey. And now in Virginia, now we can take a look at the Virginia candidates, Mr. 411. Okay, our Virginia candidates here are Miss Winsome Earl Sears, who is the sitting lieutenant governor of the state of New Jersey. And Miss Abigail Spanberger is competing for this seat as well. As it stands right now, it looks like Winsome Searles, who was trailing a little bit in the polls, is making a tremendous comeback. And I think for the Commonwealth of New Jersey to continue to prosper and move forward, I think that they don't need to change horses midstream and bring in a liberal such as Abigail Spanberger. And they need to continue the work that has been done under the current governor and under this lieutenant governor, who can carry on the work of making Virginia a very prosperous state and a very safe state. So tonight, we're going to keep it short tonight. So I'm going to thank you for joining me tonight. And we'll be back next week, and we'll have some results for you too as we move forward. So we're looking forward to seeing you right back here on the 411 Sports World Network. And I want to thank you for joining me tonight. And we want to thank Mr. 411. Be sure now to hit that like button and subscribe to the 411 Sports World Network. And if you have any comments, please post them and tell us your thoughts about the showdown, the crime crackdown, and the election showdown. And be sure that you register so that you can vote, because that's your civic duty. So we look forward to seeing you again next week. And this is the Freedom Warrior saying good night.